The anticipation was at its peak as the most thrilling climax of a record of a mortal's journey to immortality finally began to resolve his inner turmoil and reunite with his beloved. Han Li ventured alone to the Hidden Moon sect to demand an explanation from Nangong Wan, the woman with whom he had shared a physical intimacy and who haunted his dreams. A sensational wedding-snatching drama was about to unfold across the entire region. At that time, Han Li had just survived a series of fierce battles and settled his grudges with Wang Chan and the Ghost Spirit sect. He had intended to rest for a while when he unexpectedly received a thunderous message. Nangong Wan was about to marry another. This news pierced his heart like an ice pick, and without hesitation, he immediately set off for the Hidden Moon sect. On this journey, he was determined to personally ask the woman who had taken his virginity years ago why. To avoid detection, Han Li used his skills to disguise himself as an ordinary outer sect manager, quietly infiltrating the heavily guarded Hidden Moon sect's gates. When he finally found his chance, pushed open the door, and saw once again that exquisitely beautiful face that had appeared countless times in his dreams, time seemed to freeze. In that instant, even his heartbeat seemed to stop. The hardships of hundreds of years of cultivation, the treacherous schemes of the cultivation world, were all cast aside. Only one incredibly clear thought remained in his heart: to be with her, to stay together forever. When Nangong Wan first saw this unfamiliar steward trespassing into the inner chamber, her delicate brows furrowed slightly, a hint of displeasure and wariness flashing in her eyes. She calmly dismissed the maids around her. Once only the two of them remained in the cave, Han Li removed his disguise, revealing his true face. Nangong Wan was initially stunned, her eyes instantly blazing with unbelievable joy. However, this joy was quickly replaced by a trace of resentment. She gazed at Han Li, softly questioning him, her voice trembling slightly. Having successfully formed your nascent soul, why did you waste so many years, only coming to find me today? Han Li, usually unfazed even when facing formidable enemies, was now somewhat flustered, his words tumbling out in disarray. This rare embarrassment, ironically, lessened the resentment in Nangong Wan's heart, making her chuckle. Seeing her smile, Han Li felt somewhat relieved. Nangong Wan then quietly revealed the truth: she hadn't willingly married him. It was all because her senior sister, in order to curry favor with Wei Lycan, the son of the late-stage nascent soul cultivator Wei Yue, had secretly cast a vicious, heart-binding curse on her, twisting her mind and confining her within 100 miles, forcing her to submit. Upon learning the truth, a great weight lifted from Han Li's heart, a surge of both pride and tenderness welling up within him. Without hesitation, he looked firmly at Nangong Wan and said directly, "Be my Taoist partner!" His simple words carried immense weight. From that moment on, all the barriers and misunderstandings between them melted away, and their hearts were truly connected. Now that their love was pledged, the most urgent task was to escape this dangerous place. However, standing in their way was their senior sister, a woman with mid-nascent soul cultivation and a deep, cunning mind. Han Li, always cautious, didn't forget to meticulously plan even in this urgent situation. He first quietly summoned his artifact spirit, Silver Moon, and whispered instructions for it to ambush them in a hidden spot outside the cave. Then, he used his divine sense to control a swarm of gold-eating insects, ordering them to remain hidden in the air. Only then, under the name of Nangong Wan, did he devise a plan to lure his senior sister into the cave. The moment his senior sister stepped into the cave, she immediately sensed something amiss. Before she could even see who it was, her arm lashed out like a venomous snake, and a sharp, unparalleled sword beam shot towards Han Li's hiding place like lightning. Han Li, however, only managed a flash of yellow light beneath him, and he vanished underground like a fish, narrowly avoiding the fatal blow. Seeing the opponent's extraordinary escape techniques, the senior sister felt a chill and quickly retreated, intending to create distance. Unexpectedly, a massive azure sword, imbued with the force of wind and thunder, burst through the door and slashed down at her. Undeterred, she flicked her slender fingers, sending several extremely condensed, cold rays of light precisely striking the giant's sword. The two forces collided with a deafening roar, their energy scattering in all directions. Both sides retreated several steps, resulting in a stalemate. What alarmed her even more was that her junior sister, Nangong Wan, had also unhesitatingly summoned her natal magic weapon, the vermilion bird ring, its crimson halo swirling, clearly indicating that she had sided with the stranger. At this point, she understood that the person before her must be the lover her junior sister couldn't forget. A murderous glint flashed in her eyes. With a sharp cry, she unleashed her signature magic weapon, the yin-yang ice and fire sword. Its blade, half red and half blue, carried the terrifying power of both ice and fire, and hurtled towards Han Li. However, under the combined attack of Han Li and Nangong Wan, the combined power of the two swords was gradually suppressed, leaving them struggling to defend themselves. Seeing this, her anger intensified, and without hesitation, she used his trump card, an ancient condensing light mirror, floated into the air, its surface as deep and dark as the night sky, suddenly shooting out a thick, five-colored beam of light. This light was incredibly profound, not only neutralizing many of Han Li and Nangong Wan's attacks, but also forming a powerful binding force, temporarily suppressing even Nangong Wan's vermilion bird ring, dimming its spiritual light. The situation took a sharp turn for the worse, and Han Li knew he could no longer hold back. With a thought, the swarm of gold-devouring insects, already poised to pounce, stood ready. Like a golden cloud, it hurtled down, heading straight for her senior sister. Nangong Wan simultaneously activated her magic, the crimson soul halo above her head shining brightly, its power increasing further. Facing the increasingly fierce counterattack from the two, her senior sister's face was filled with murderous intent. She suddenly opened her mouth and spat out a blood demon sword, wreathed in a thick, bloody aura. The moment this sword appeared, the spiritual energy within the cave was thrown into chaos, like rivers flowing into the sea, frantically devoured by the demon's sword. Nangong Wan, witnessing this, paled, knowing the sword's danger, and was about to. Desperately trying to stop it, the blood demon's sword transformed into a crimson rainbow, carrying an aura of annihilation that seemed to tear everything apart, slashing down towards Han Li. Han Li felt his spiritual energy falter. In that critical moment, he didn't hesitate to consume nearly half of his painstakingly refined blood god lightning, barely managing to dodge this fatal blow. Even so, the raging aftershocks of the sword energy still annihilated tens of thousands of the gold-eating insects he commanded, suffering heavy losses. Han Li's expression darkened. He knew this battle had to be ended quickly, or the consequences would be unpredictable. He gritted his teeth, relentlessly channeling his inner essence, and instantly his arms flashed with golden light. Two golden arcs of divine lightning, as thick as his arms, surged forth, weaving into a dazzling net of lightning. In a flash, they tightly bound the menacing blood demon sword, and he gripped it with his bare hands. The demonic sword groaned in despair in his grasp, trembling violently, yet unable to break free. This scene of him bare-handedly catching a blade and directly confronting the demonic sword left his senior sister speechless with astonishment. Even Nangong Wan was stunned. Han Li, however, didn't hesitate. Taking advantage of her momentary shock, he urged the remaining gold-devouring insects to surge towards his senior sister like a golden wave. His senior sister's expression changed drastically. She retreated hastily, simultaneously wielding her black and white swords, fiercely slashing at the cave entrance, attempting to break it down and escape. A muffled clang rang out, sparks flying, but the heavy stone door remained completely unmoved upon closer inspection. It was revealed to be a tightly packed, more condensed mass of three-colored gold-devouring insects, forming an indestructible barrier. The giant golden shield withstood her full-force attack. The senior sister was horrified. Seeing the swarm of insects about to encircle her, she hurriedly took out a silver talisman. The talisman flashed with spiritual light, transforming into an incomparably sharp silver beam that instantly pierced the insect shield. Although Nangong Wan activated the cave's restrictions with all her might, attempting to entangle and intercept it with countless streams of spiritual light, she still couldn't completely stop the light of the escaped talisman. Just as the silver beam was about to carry her senior sister out of the cave, another unexpected change occurred. A spiritual talisman shimmering with purple light. Without warning, a net descended from the void, binding her tightly. A tremendous force followed, forcefully pulling her senior sister back from the doorway. Inu appeared, smiling. She had been lying in wait for some time, as planned. With the dust settled, Nangong Wan, ultimately considering the bonds of camaraderie and the stability of the sect, dissuaded Han Li from taking her life. Han Li respected her decision, and the two joined forces to remove the heart-binding curse from her senior sister, knocking her unconscious and imprisoning her. They then quietly left the Hidden Moon sect. Afterwards, Nangong Wan temporarily resided with Han Li at the Falling Cloud sect. Although there were many disturbances during this time, including being ambushed by villains and afflicted with a strange, soul-sealing curse, All threats were ultimately eliminated after Han Li displayed swift and decisive power, slaying several attacking nascent soul cultivators from the demonic sect. Nangong Wan was thus able to escape danger. Once the turmoil subsided, the two decided to hold a dual cultivation ceremony. The news caused a sensation throughout the entire Tiannan cultivation world. On the day of the grand ceremony, cultivators gathered outside Yimeng Mountain, with over 10,000 attending the banquet. Countless streaks of light, each a different color, filled the sky, resembling an inverted Milky Way. The patriarchs and sect leaders of various sects all came in person, partly to congratulate Han Li, now a top cultivator in Tiannan, and partly to catch a glimpse of this legendary figure, hoping to make an acquaintance and forge goodwill. With Han Li's generous use of elixirs, Nangong Wan's cultivation also progressed rapidly, successfully advancing to the mid-stage of the nascent soul realm. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, this couple, who had endured many hardships, finally became husband and wife, their story becoming a legendary tale in the Tiannan cultivation world. From then on, Han Li's long and lonely path of cultivation finally had warm companionship. He was no longer just a calculating and solitary Han Laoma, he had a wife, a home, and a safe harbor in his heart.